Hello, sisters. Welcome back to the podcast and welcome back to another AKA Ask Kelly Anything episode. And today I wanted to address a question that I got on my Instagram, which is very, very, very important. So the question is, can you heal relationship trauma while still in that relationship? And this is a multi-layered answer, so I want to make sure that you hear all of it. Initially, my answer is no. You cannot heal while being subjected to the same trauma, right? It just doesn't make sense. You cannot heal if you are in relationship with the person that has been hurting you and is still hurting you, causing you harm, whether that is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual harm. You are not going to be able to heal while still being caused harm within that relationship, right? Now, that is like the overall thing. Within that question is the context of, okay, is this person actively changing? Now, a couple weeks ago, I had another question that was like, oh, he says he's going to change and he never changes. And you can hear what my answer was to that. But essentially, it's very hard for people to change. They don't change because you want them to change. They change because they have a deep inner need and drive to change on their own. So the thing that you really want to consider if you are healing your relationship is that both partners absolutely would have to be on board, and the person that has been causing the harm would have to be in a place where they are actively, and you can hear them, see them, feel them, know that they are now becoming a safe space for you. Unfortunately, that does not happen a lot. Unfortunately, people that cause harm have deep-seated issues, and unless they are going to get those deep-seated issues worked on, wanting to change or thinking that you're going to change is just not enough. And I'm sure that you know that in your own personal experience. You can want to change, you can think that you are changing, and yet you still will fall back into the same patterns and habits because you are not actively doing the work to change. So I want you to hear that. If this person is actively working to change and they are now a safe space, you are now able to openly communicate with them, they do not harm you, they do not hurt you in any way, can you heal? Well, maybe. It's still not a definite yes, and I want you to understand why. It might have been too much for you. Your nervous system might be too activated around this person and not feel safe. Healing requires safety. One of the most important aspects to healing is safe relationships. Why? Because of your nervous system. So we have something called the vagus nerve, and maybe you've heard of the polyvagal theory. It is something that has really gained a lot of popularity. I personally am a big fan of the polyvagal theory because I've experienced what the theory says personally. So I don't think it's a theory. I think it's actually true, right? But in science and different things, we call everything theories and whatnot. But essentially, your vagus nerve goes through it's responsible for your fight or flight system or your freeze, right? Are we going to fight? Are we going to fly? Are we going to freeze? Or are we going to remain connected? There's actually three pieces. Remaining connected requires safety. Something bad happens and we're going to run away, or we're going to fight, or something really, really bad happens and we're going to freeze. There's three different aspects to it, but they're all determined by the vagus nerve. This is why doing things to regulate your vagus nerve are so important. Things like breath work, embodiment exercises, yoga is very nourishing for your vagal nerve. So it's very, very important that we have instances where if we have been in a relationship and we've experienced a lot of trauma, let's say it's somebody who is emotionally abusive. So it's emotionally abusive relationship, and we're typically not able to safely express our opinions or our upsets, right? Like they did something that was harmful to us. You say something to them about it and they end up blowing up on you and telling you it's all your fault and you're wrong and you're bad and all of this stuff, right? That's what happens. And in that cycle, your nervous system is going to get activated maybe for a time in that fight or flight, but after it happens so many times, you probably just go into freeze, you get numb, you feel totally disconnected, and it's really like you leave yourself. Now, in order to heal, you would have to experience, you get upset, you express yourself, hey, this is what happened, and that person is like, okay, I'm really sorry, like how can we figure this out and remain connected and you not feel attacked? So that is, you basically need to have disconfirming experiences, okay? So your nervous system gets conditioned in these toxic relationships. Your nervous system anticipates these negative reactions. It anticipates going into that fight or flight. It anticipates going into that freeze. It anticipates you being disconnected and dysregulated. So in order to get rid of that, you have to have the disconfirming experiences that if your nervous system was to expect this bad reaction from this person, that they get a safe one. And then they continually get that safe reaction. Okay. Now I want you to understand that getting that inside of a relationship that has caused you harm it's a lot. And I don't know the person that asked this question. I don't know what exactly the relationship trauma they are experiencing are. I don't know what the relationship trauma you are experiencing is. So I don't know how much or how bad or how many confirming traumatizing experiences you have had, and therefore how many disconfirming experiences you would need. But I just want you to see that that is really what it takes to heal. Healing requires safe relationships, a new way, a new reaction. Okay. Otherwise you still fall into the same cycles. Now, with that being said, if you are currently in a relationship where you're experiencing that, where you're experiencing abuse of any kind, you still start your healing work on yourself. Start your healing work on yourself to become strong enough to leave that relationship. Because I guarantee you that if you start to do your own work, you start to really know your worth, you start to realize the different things that are playing out inside of this relationship, and you come to a space within yourself that is like, oh my God, what am I doing here? You'll leave, and then you can begin the healing after that. But I know for me, when I started learning about personal development, getting into personal development, learning about thoughts and just becoming aware of who I was and creating my reality and all of these things, me starting to understand how this was working and starting to understand, like, I'm in control of my life. I get to choose who I'm with, and I'm choosing this person. That for me is what enabled me to leave when I had the opportunity to do so. And of course, there's episodes where I talk about exactly how I left, and I talk about it in my book and all of that, but I was ready for that time to leave that relationship because of the work that I had been doing in the background. So it's not like, oh, don't do any work. No, start doing your work. Start getting yourself to a mental and emotional place where you are actually ready to leave, and then leave and then start your healing work, because that's a whole different process. Okay. But you're not going to heal your trauma while still being continuously re-traumatized. And I'm going to say this again, and I know I say it a lot, but who you choose to be in a relationship with, who you choose to be your significant other and spend the most time with in your life influences every single aspect of your life. It is the most important decision you are going to make. Choose wisely. This is your choice. And it doesn't matter how interlaced you are with this person. There are ways out of it. Create a plan. Do the things that you need to do for yourself because you deserve happiness. You deserve love. You deserve safety and so, so much more. And that's going to be it for me today. If this spoke to you, if you're listening, take a screenshot, tag me on Instagram, let me know that you loved the episode. Please, please, please share it with another sister who might need to hear this today. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you soon.